I am confident we could avoid a depreciation of a moor, sustain the nearly collapsed Howard Brothers and Emerald Industries, and stabilise the real estate market, which is the root cause of this, just like a bottomless pit. So you're saying you become the Alexander to cut the Gordian knot? Barton of all people was stepping back. Even Barton was convinced there was no way out. Yet, in these market conditions, there was a way to overturn everything. Of course. Huh. For the first time, Barton looked straight at me. Which is why I came to make a deal with you. A deal? Exactly. This is something you have taught me. That an investor is someone who aims for the best profit or the best timing. But now is precisely the moment I must bring this deal to you. Aren't you supplicating me? If the situation continues, the lunar surface will collapse. Is she asking me not to run away with money, but to put it to good use? Certainly not. I still have enough backbone to learn from my forefathers. I resume my explanation. We are people of the lunar surface, miners who convert everything into money. Which is why, since the lunar surface's problem is a monetary problem, and all possible avenues have not been explored. Here, even the end of the world is a monetary problem, so all we have to do is convert everything to money. After exchanging a glass with Agana, who was next to me, I raised my head to glance at the large atrium visible to my seat. I could see a hotel of a lunar surface that was said to be the highest grade in the world. What I saw there was not mere construction. I saw the dreams of people, their hopes, or you could say, their broken dreams and despair. And the feelings of people. We will convert people's feelings of the lunar surface into money. Threaten them, yelling. If you love a lunar surface, if you don't want to leave a lunar surface, then cough enough money to accomplish that, the asshole. Urge them by saying, if you're an inhabitant of a lunar surface, then buy your dreams with your money. Buy the memories you have made here with your money. Just like AJ Rockberg bought out Bull Stairs. Just like you bought out Emerald Industries. We will pull our buyout of the inhabitants of the lunar surface. I don't see where you're heading with this, but first of all, can't you see this is unprecedented? A buyout? On the inhabitants of the lunar surface? Let us say that it was even possible. I doubt you'll be able to build up the system in time. Do you know how the construction of a system was even for trading more electricity? And so the situation is desperate. I mean, it's because there's no time at all. No. There's no special need for a new system. I mean, if you want to live here, then you pay what is necessary to that end. That is what taxes were originally supposed to be about, right? It's a deal. We need a tremendous amount of malls, enough to blow away the crisis of the lunar surface, and the central bank will be able to print it. However, if we print that many banknotes, the mall will depreciate and cause the demise of the lunar surface. So in order to prevent that, we have to collect money via taxes and maintain the value. If people acknowledge that the lunar surface has that much value, they will pay, even if taxes are imposed on them. Implement taxes on the lunar surface? But if you did that, I do expect complaints and dissatisfaction to occur. If they think the lunar surface is still better than Earth, then they will pay. If we can protect the books and rebalance, then even if we print banknotes, the more's value won't collapse, and financial institutions will be able to inject enough capital to overcome the turmoil. This will allow the lunar surface to retain its attractiveness, which means companies will not withdraw themselves, people will come back, things will go back to working fine. Of course, you might laugh at my idea for being idealistic. In truth, though, whether everything works out or ends in disaster relies solely on premise. My gaze pierced straight through Barton. How much people care for the lunar surface? Exactly, or... My following words were spoken as an investor. If compared to Earth, the lunar surface is just a little more attractive, or people greedy enough to yearn and struggle to be the ones to acquire that profit. Also thought the deal of mine was actually a chance to working out. I was convinced it was no pipe dream. Indeed, the lunar government was currently completely locked down upon calling names, and had his hands full even collecting a little more than bare minimum necessary taxes. Yet it was said that this was what made the lunar surface so attractive. When everything came to maturity, even a restaurant just after its opening would provide some extra service free of charge. And if people were to come because of this, because they stopped providing extra service, would one believe that customers would stop coming? People normally don't think like that. A special place like lunar surface was far less numerous than restaurants. It was Morgana who thought me up for the idea. She was born in a very poor country, The circumstances had pushed her to be bought in exchange for that money. I guess the political system was in shambles and nothing could be done. Britain's commonly heard tale on Earth, been going on for millennia. At long last, the people found what would be called the lunar city. I remember what Eleanor talked about. I remember about the very reason why things such as ABS and CDO got popular. The lunar surface was a land that was an object of adoration for Earth people. People who could not go there, tried to involve themselves by investing. And this blew up to such huge proportions that it caused a real estate bubble. People who poured money into a holy grail, created by Chris and their team, believing it was a cup that could take an infinite amount of water. But as a bubble occurred in regard to a demand, people's greed grew with them to the same momentum. No matter who you were, leaving your home and birthplace was a hard thing to do. This was obvious to a sheer number of people who would not leave Earth. It meant being mere playthings for horrible situations there, in a political system that one did not like. Even a land devoid of hopes. There were a lot of people who could not leave their homeland, which is exactly why they tried to have monetary value ties with the lunar surface at the very least. The result was a bubble. And so even it was the fact that people did not want to die far away from their homeland, no matter how good they had it on the lunar surface. In fact, with so many scrambling to be the first to be orbital elevated back to Earth. This must not be the case for everybody. There must be people who decided to bury their bones here, or people who made unforgettable memories here, such as Hagana. Of course, when thinking rationally about it, the best move here would be to count on some other guy to pay taxes in order to save the lunar surface, while you would just escape discreetly in a reserve situation to take advantage of the outcome no matter what it was. Taking into account my experiences up until now, of course I'd assume a lunar surface was full of people like that. That's because if you didn't act on the assumption of that in mind, you get taken advantage of. Even so, we were witness to cases such as Bull Stairs. People were not that selfish and not that foolish. Even when aware that it would bring up loss, it would not be equitable. It would not be unreasonable for people who were broad-minded enough to accept all of that for the sake of what was really important. More than anything else, Hagana was right before my eyes. The same Hagana who said this. This was a problem of how much you could believe in the world, which is why this was a deal, and without doubt, I had a chance of working out. 4 years ago, 8 years ago, I would just sneered at that thought. But I could believe in Hagana, I could believe in Risa, I could believe in Chris. I could trust in the passion of the people who wanted to make this place a better one than Earth. A wonderful place, in the depths of greed of the idiots who love this madness-filled casino called Lunar Surface. But God won't descend from the heavens just because you prayed really hard. The Lunar Surface was a ruthless place, and I was an investor. I would use whatever I could. Then in the situation, would I pop the illness-ridden king of pessimism in the chair of a central bank? Which held the last ray of hope? Certainly not. If there really was such a thing as destiny, and I was convinced that all my actions for the past 8 years were steps to bring me to this very moment. A government of the people, by the people, for the people. Is that how it went? Lincoln, huh? I do realise I'm not on the same level, but my name does have some utility value into it, as a hero of a lunar surface. What are you plotting? It's easy. I shall take the seat as a director of a central bank. With my name as one born of a lunar surface, a hero who has defeated evil, I'll be able to make decisions that might be begrudged by others. I'll be able to persuade people into accepting this as an investor of a future. They're claiming this will be an investment of a lunar surface, by people of a lunar surface, for people of a lunar surface. Do you think it'll work? An obvious worry. A sensible decision. An intuition went beyond logic. A man called Barton Cladwison glared at me with all the strength he could muster. However, I had absolutely no intention of engaging with him. Whether or not it'll work is not the problem. It was Hagana who spoke. We will keep going at it until it works, right? She then glanced at me. I was ridiculously happy she remembered me saying that. 8 years ago, I would not trust people so readily. Without my experience of 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to put myself forward this much. I was by no means free from my past. But then it must have been the same for everybody else. Then let me ask you one question. He spoke with a strained voice. What's that? What's your reason for coming to talk to me about this? Here and now, in terms of how much cash one person could move around freely, Barton was the richest man in the world. Didn't I tell you? I have a deal for you. What do you want? The account I gave you, and all the money in it, and the withdrawal of positions you hold in Emerald Industries. What? He could not express surprise and laughed at the same time. For the first time displayed an expression of bewilderment. Are you insane, mister? Do you actually expect me to accept my proposal? You will. Without a doubt, you certainly will. Mister, I certainly do not dislike this recklessness of yours, or this darling plan of yours that you spoke of. I'm afraid of God. However, Mister, only loss and gain can motivate me to act. Listen to how uncertain the future is. The only thing you... I already brought this up with President Gazanica, and I have his approval. Huh? The position of Secretary of Ministry of Finance awaits you. What? Barton, taken aback, opened his mouth. I stood straight up before continuing. After all, the lunar surface's government and parliament are places where companies wage worldwide proxy. If we were to use the government's immense funds to save financial institutions, the real estate market, emerald industries, this would certainly stir up something unbelievable. But we both know one man can move freely in this unbelievable world, and who we managed in time to threaten emerald industries. This man was Barton Cludwisen. A man who had a king of pessimism himself, wondering whether or not he was actually a mere human. And a man who loved both investment and the lunar surface more than anyone else. Whether or not the lunar surface will be able to remain an attractive playground will depend on the government's actions from now on. Just like you tried to turn the tables on this crisis to ensure the lunar surface could keep on going. If you are so determined, don't you think there are other ways to accomplish that goal, Mr. Barton? As I thought of my next words, I couldn't prevent a smile from creeping onto my face. How about you grow up? Words that Barton had told me. I may have that smug look on my face, but frankly, who could blame me? Barton just looked like he'd had a heart attack and was clutching his heart, looking back at me with blank amazement. Even a man like him didn't fathom a possibility, no matter how hard he racked his brains. People don't behave like that in a mathematical formula. That was one result of the kindness program could be overridden. That was because, in that realm, people such as me, Gazanica, Wallace, Sasha, Risa, Marco, Elena, Chris, all our names weren't there. Also because the act of one person trusting another is something very obvious for humans. It's not taken into account in that realm. Are you telling me to put the rope around my neck? Barton drew his words with difficulty. Don't they say capitalists would even sell a rope to hang themselves? The man I feared and admired was glaring at me. In Rome's deal, collecting taxes had some measure of a chance of working out. I couldn't know in advance how much money we would get. Investors worldwide were fleeing from every market, so the situation was similar to a shortage in capital liquidity. It's quite possible they could not use their money even if they wanted to. So in order to increase the odds just a little, I wanted to sweep away the concern relating to emerald industries. Just by removing this problem, the amount of money we needed would drop significantly. If on top of that Barton could join us, well, there would be no ally more reassuring than him. I meant to cut the Gordian knot. I wouldn't say such lukewarm words as 2 birds with 1 stone. You. Yes? You really were born on the lunar surface. So it would seem. This whole thing is quite dumbfounding, really. At first it was to buy investment bank in order to buy out administrators, but you've finally gone all the way. The world is about to collapse and you use that threat to bring the table to a proposal about buying this very world. You can even imagine that such a deal existed. Investment is about trumping your person's plan and schemes. You were one who taught me that, so what do you think? I am convinced you'll accept this deal. 30 billion more, or maybe 40 billion. You give me that much money, we could create a golden city rule. I made sure to use this wording on purpose. I meant it as a provocation. As a matter of fact, taunting him was my only way of going about this. I had to boast that no matter where else he went, he would never get a bigger job than here. Barton and I kept staring at each other. And after an immense amount of time, Barton finally sighed and uttered his words. The scholar may yet... Huh? The War Master. War Master. The scholar may yet war the master. Barton said this in a low voice before laughing. Would this be the magic of compound interest? And sighing with his imagination, he glanced around for a bit. Finally his gaze returned to the table. Barton scratched his head. So, My failure with Avalon was a first bad omen, huh? Ben. As I took advantage of momentum to ask his confirmation, Barton laughed and shrugged. I am weak to investments, but as you said, I do think investment is about trumping your plans. In that case, I see your point. Deciding to manage a proper government on a lunar surface. Now that's a chance to trump people's plans they don't get every day. Besides? I'm not young anymore. You see, I've been thinking it was lonely being by myself. Saying this, Barton winked clumsily. Oh, that's creepy. I might never win against him. His gesture just now made me think this. But in the end, relationships between people are probably an accumulation of such things. I'll accept your offer. How about your positions? I know, please call your legal advisor. It's a firm that has a really skilled lawyer. Say she right. I'm as whimsical as a market after all. Determining profit is the right call to make. Barton said this, sipping his coffee. That instant, all attention left my body and I slouched in my chair weakly. Barton laughed. I couldn't tell whether or not he was laughing at me for how I looked right now, or was just laughing at himself for losing against me. I wanted to believe it was both. For some reason, that thought crossed my mind. How? Hasekura called out my name. She handed me my tablet, so I guess she was getting me to make a call. This time, Barton laughed out loud. Ha! You're type to get henpecked, aren't you? I'm not good at anything besides investment. I managed to give us his answer. I called Gazalika's number. As I was about to make the call, Barton asked, "You a type who would, on his own deathbed, give instructions for his position after his own death, right?" As I listened to a ringtone, I looked at Barton and answered, "No, that's not it." He looked at me expectantly, tilting his head. "I'm a type who can't stop investing even when the world is about to come to an end." He laughed and my call connected. I reported the course of events and asked him to take steps so we could announce the project as soon as possible. In the meantime, Barton finished drinking his coffee and, after looking bored for a moment, stood up from his chair. I wasn't on yet with my phone call, so I called out and rushed to stop him from leaving. Barton paid no heed to me, pulled out his wallet, taking coins and banknotes from it. I nearly cried for a moment when I saw what he put on the table. "We'll split the cheque. As equal parties. We have to see plenty of each other, if we don't want to, so don't make that face." How about the tears that were welling up, and I looked towards Barton. I've been hurt badly because of him. At times, the thought wanting to kill him crossed my mind. But if I hadn't met that person, I don't think I'd have ever become who I am today. That's kind of literal case, you know that. If you hadn't met Barton, I really wouldn't have got involved in a lot of these schemes. He stopped walking for an instant. It felt like he did it on purpose. I almost forgot. Since you always sent a stage for all of this, well, you know what that means. It might get made into another movie or something. I was so sudden I couldn't answer. Barton said this. "I hope you'll at least let me decide the title." "What do you have in mind?" Barton looked back at me and his shoulder and had a grin on his face. "Go on, you know what to say, Barton." "The tale of a crazy economic junkie who even turned the end of the world into a business deal. In other words, World End Economica. Even if the world came to an end, we certainly wouldn't get to stop with our money counting. Well, see ya here on the lunar surface." That, Barton waved and promptly left. Left behind, I gazed at his back, sniffling before returning to my phone call in a hurry. The discussion ended soon after that. He wanted me to come to a government building. We had a lot of things left to do. Or rather, we have to deal with even more things. As I ended my phone call, I gave a tablet back to Hasekura. Taking my tablet, she put it away and stood up promptly. There was no sentimentality, no afterglow. But there was a feeling. How? Yes? He held her right hand out to me. You're going, right? Yes. I took a hand and stood up. Yes, I had to go, and I could go anywhere, even if it was... untrodden ground. At the end of the world. I do hope you don't mind me being a bit quiet over his closing credits. I was taken into all the story we just had. I'll actually get some post-end here, but and in front of the microphones. What's Eleanor doing back on the moon? Of course, the thing everybody knew was coming, especially at the end of a series like this. And who else would do a service? Well, thank you very much, Spicy Tales. Thank you very much, Isuna Hasekura, Sam. I think we're loading back to the menu now, aren't we? Yep, we've actually got the CG mode and music mode unlocked now. I think we really need to go back to the end here and look at some of these images we just skipped past. I just noticed in the background you've got that one girl. I can't remember who she was, but the raggedy-headed girl from one of his scenes earlier. I can't remember who she was, but she was definitely somebody important. It looks like she's got some sort of interest in a slot. Of course, one everybody really wants to see is that one. I think I'm going to leave it on that while I talk about the series as a whole. I know this episode has been a bit longer than normal. I actually ended the previous episode about 10 minutes ago. I actually said goodbye and all that, and I actually did my end of episode stuff, but I decided to splice it together with this one because I couldn't end it like that. I mean, I ended about 5 minutes before the end. Less than that. But I'm completely and utterly satisfied with World End Economica now. To give you an idea how much I've been looking forward to this, I think I've recorded 5 episodes today, 6 episodes today, which will take me up to pretty much start of June. So I think when this episode is going up, it's going to be either last week in May or start of June. Today's date is the 19th of April. I've pushed that hard to get this series finished soon, quickly. Not so much so I could record it quickly for you guys, but so I could see this ending. I mean, it was always going to be this ending. It was always going to be Hagana and Hal standing in front of Risa in the church. Well, a chapel. It's not so much a church these days. It's more of a makeshift thing. But even I didn't really see where the series was going. I knew Barton was going to be a final boss because his Barton, of course, is going to be a final boss. But I never saw the way that he would be involved in the way that he'd try to get him on his side, and what his dream was. That completely floored me. Now, as I said at the start of this, if you want to buy this for yourself, and I do recommend buying this for yourself because it is a absolutely beautiful story. You can buy it on Steam. It's probably my favourite series done by Sekai Project outside of Clannad at the moment. And it's not even a proper visual novel, it's actually a kinetic novel, so there's no choices, you just get the same story. If you are enjoying the story as well, if you enjoy the story, don't forget to check out Spice and Wolf. I actually recommend don't watch the anime, although the anime is bloody brilliant as well. Read the novels. Not the manga, but novels. You don't have to go out and buy the ginormous thick book, like I did. To be fair, I've actually got the individual volumes as well. The main story, 17 volumes. It's a long story, but it's worth it. You got a few side stories in between. If you ever see something like something log, if you are worried about your money, it's normally okay to skip the ones which say something log. But yeah, buy Spice and Wolf, read Spice and Wolf, even read it on your Kindle or e-readers if you don't want to buy physical books. Should be cheaper that way as well. Really, World End Economica and Spice and Wolf have a lot in common. And even though the characters are very different, it's very easy if you're a writer to fall into the trap of writing the same characters over and over again. As much as like Kamatsu's Negima, he seems to be writing the same characters repeatedly. Negi and Asuna. But yeah. I keep going on about things, I can keep waffling, but I can't recommend this game enough. I think the next thing on this channel, unless things go completely awry, is going to be Steins Gate. I teased it a few months ago. I bought the game a few months ago when it was on sale. It's sitting there, installed, ready to go. I've actually got the anime sitting down next to me as well. I've been avoiding watching that. The new anime is airing this season. I'm avoiding watching that. Avoiding any kind of Steins Gate spoilers. So if you've got any spoilers, go away. Well, you can watch the video, just don't spoil me on him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Not sure if I'm actually going to stream Steins Gate on Twitch. I might do. If you do follow me on Twitch, be sure to look at twitch.tv/Fudce_. I'll stream on there. I'll try and stream on there about once a week or so. I'm trying to increase the amount of streaming I do. Who knows, by the time this goes up, I may be streaming a bit more. But yeah, if you want to leave any comments, leave me a comment on the video or any of the video. I'll read them all. I normally try and respond to them as I can, although I would say as more comments come in, I probably won't be able to respond as many, but who am I kidding, more comments won't come in. But thank you very much for watching me play World End Economica, Seasons 1, 2 and 3. It's been a long journey. I forgot how many episodes. I could check it now if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to. And so without further ado, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful June. Because, as it says, it's going to be June now or very soon. Join me for Steins Gate. Join me for other series I'm streaming and watching and playing. I probably won't still be playing Blue Reflection, or maybe we're getting towards the end of it. No, I'm probably getting towards the end of Suikoden. But have a wonderful day. This is Fudce, signing out. Bye bye.